which is different than what you would think or what you would normally do. And I'm gonna have her turn her head because I wanna see where this lives on her body. And then we're gonna dust it up, straighten up the line, and really clean it up through the back. So it's a little bit opposite from what you might have seen done before, where everything's brought back, cut square, right? And then pulled forward and tailored. We are doing that in essence, but we are doing the exact opposite of that, where we're bringing everything kind of forward, and I'm making sure her body is square, but her head is all the way looking over that shoulder. So it gives you just a little bit more of a square shape. And I'm gonna actually go in and separate this just in half, because I feel like we don't need to go through a million sections to get to where we need her to be. Because we're going to establish this length, but we're actually gonna chip into it, cut into it, and do a lot of things to it afterwards. So really, this is just kind of giving myself a bit of a guide to begin with. Cool? So we're gonna start here, and I'm kind of just like looking at the shape of her body, thinking about where I want it to land. Gosh, you guys, look at all that hair. Can you see, or are the comments, maybe lean back just a slight bit. There we go, there we go. The comments, I don't want you guys to cover up the haircut. This is an insane amount of hair. Okay, so she's divided exactly in half in the back, okay? And I'm just going to come forward. Get rid of that. Come forward again. Get rid of that. Like I said, guys, this is not the final line. I'm kind of creating myself like a little bit of texture and shape in there. Cool. Bringing that down, and then giving myself lots of room to play and make it look how I want to make it look. Cool. So it's just a really soft guide. Now I'm going to do that again, coming up the opposite way or down the opposite way, depending on which way her hair is pushing, so that way you can kind of push against the hair to give yourself a much, easier way of doing this. And I'm just kind of creating these soft little petals and these fine little bits, right? So we're using precision hair cutting with not precision hair cutting, right? We're using it with our feeling, our emotion, our eyeballs, looking at what we want to see. And then knowing that we're gonna chip into this a lot more, but I just wanna create something soft and textury to begin with right off the bat. Cool. So then we'll bring down, I would essentially, if I was in the salon, I would actually do this one side, then the other side. You know what? Let's just do it the exact way we're gonna do it in the salon so that you guys can see. Okay, so we're gonna turn her head the opposite way. So Miss Britt, turn your head the opposite way. Thank you. And we're going to kind of just take a piece of this hair from the other side, swing it on around, and cut the lengths here. It's like drowning in hair right now. She's got so much of it. It's incredible. And I'm not mad at it. I've loved it my whole life, and I've gotten to benefit from this head of hair my whole life. So we're very, very, very thankful for it. How you guys doing? Hey, hi, cool. So we're grabbing a little piece from the back. So can you see that little baby guide? Because I don't want to grab too much because it's going to change because we're over directing it forward, right? And what happens when you over direct forward? You're creating a round shape. And if we're creating a round shape, then that means when it swings back, you're going to have a little baby tail in the back, which we expect because we are, we're aware, but we want to make sure that we've got kind of like what we want to see here in the front first. And where we want it to live, where we want it to lay on her body, and what we want that to look like. Cool? So it's interesting, like doing things kind of backwards sometimes, and flipping things around. And it's like, okay, you can get the same effect or the same look, doing it a way that seems a little bit like unconventional, or like that you weren't taught in beauty school, right? Or something like that. Or even taught in like, a super fancy schmancy class. And I think that the reason that that's so important is because it gives you like a fresh perspective just on like what your like your biggest priority is. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna flip her all the way around, but it's a little hard to see. Let's see how the camera likes it. Oh, can you see? No, you can't. I'm gonna bring you back just a bit. So essentially what we've got, go ahead and lean forward for me, Britt. Perfect. So essentially what we have is an almost perfect line, but remember I said when you bring the hair forward, you're gonna get that round shape. So there's gonna be a little bit of a tail. So we've come to expect that, but now this is just my guide for dropping down this next portion of hair, and I'll cut this next portion of hair from the back. So like I said, just changing your brain to be like, all right, I wanna see where it's gonna hit on her body first, as opposed to like, oh, I'm taking off 6 inches. Because who cares about 6 inches, right? We care less about the number and more about how is this going to affect the rest of the haircut, how is it gonna fall. I think that this would better serve you guys a little bit from the side. Your hair's just too long for that camera frame. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna bring this all the way down, but I'm gonna bring it up so that you guys can see. And I'm actually going to flip it upside down. So it's at 0 elevation. So here in the front, we are at 0 elevation. I'm adding tension, and then I'm switching my fingers around, and I'm gonna hold it upside down. So I'm not changing the elevation, and I wouldn't hold it this high up, but I wanna show you guys on the camera. So I'm at 0 elevation, and I'm holding the tension so that I don't lose exactly where the hair is that I'm cutting. And I'm cutting from the underneath, and I'm kind of just wisping like open, close, and then as I feel tension from the hair, I loosen up. Like I don't force the cut. I want it to be very soft, very feathery, and somewhat square. And then you can even go from there and give it a little bit more texture. Britt's hair is like if you put any kind of a line into it, you see it. I know you know those clients, right? So now we've got subtle from a little bit shorter underneath to a little bit longer on top. And what that's going to give us, the effect that's going to give us, and I'll hold it in my hands and show you, is this beautiful, soft, feathery ends to that cutting line. And you can even do that with as much hair as you can hold in your hand, but keep it at 0 elevation. Keep a little bit of a guide in your hand and maintain the tension. Otherwise, you're gonna be cutting in something that's like inconsistent, right? So I'm maintaining that tension, and I don't wanna cut past my knuckle so much, but I'm holding it kind of just in my hand for reference. So I'm going in, carving out those bits, carving, and then I'm gonna regather and do the rest. It's kind of a fun take on just like putting in your one length, right? It's pretty crazy to kind of like, lean forward just a bit for me, Britt. So sorry, you're gonna be at all these different angles just because you have long hair. Sorry. Because I wanna get that tension really good. And so now I can like fan it out just slightly and go in. Can you guys see that? Are you getting a good visual of that? Cool. Slightly and go in. All right. And then I'm gonna do the other side, and then I'll come back through. I'm just gonna do a slight point cut because I feel like I'm pushing the hair a little bit. So it's always fine to change up your cutting technique. If you want deeper kind of separation, you can go in like this and pull out. And then if you want to kind of refine the situation, going in at a 90-degree angle and doing that. Cool. All right, I'm loving it. I'm loving the effect that gives. I'm gonna turn her to the side and kind of fix our camera here so you're not staring at the back of that light. There we go. So that you can really get a great look at exactly how we're doing this. So I'm gonna bring it all the way down, hold the tension up. There's my guide, got it? And then I'm coming from behind and scooping up. See that? Scoop. If I miss 1 or 2 hairs, I'm not worried about it because I'm gonna go back in. I'd rather look at this line, the majority of the line, and then I can go in and refine because I just want to think about the weight, I want to think about the cutting line, and I want to think about all of that first. Cool, how's it going? All right, let me see how you guys are doing. Everybody okay out there? Can you hear me okay? Cool. Got some hearts, cool. Everybody's chilling. Every once in a while I'm like, is the screen frozen or are you guys all just into it? Make sure that you leave your questions so that I can go back through this live. You see? So I go back through this live and answer all your questions. Okay, just scooping out. And then we're gonna refine. Take this entire section, bring it down. Oh my gosh, it already feels so much thicker just by brushing it. And then you can see, oh my gosh, I love this cutting line. It's so soft, so like thick, but soft. So feeling it in my hands, it feels thick, but it has those feathery ends. Cool. So now this is gonna guide us for the rest of the entire haircut. So let's get into it, because we've got where we want the length to be, and even some of her layers are already like shorter than where that length is going to be. How are you guys all doing? You doing good? Cool, cool, cool. All right, good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of consider, now that these are her new lengths, we consider the bangs, but I think the majority of what I want her haircut to be is to give her some volume right here. Her hair is just so heavy and it just weighs down so much that I feel like that's the next thing that I want to focus on. Because on any given haircut, I can jump around, and it's okay to jump around based on what's inspiring you in the moment and where you feel like you're kind of is going to keep you inspired for the rest of the haircut. So I might do the length, then the bangs, then connect the layers through, then go through and detail everything out. Or I might do all of the layers, the bangs, then the perimeter last, right? Because a lot of times, sometimes I just want that shape in there, and then I consider the lengths of the hair because they're more concerned about the shape as well. So it's kind of like, what are your clients' priorities? And what do they want to see? And a lot of times, if their like biggest change is the bangs, I will cut that first, because I'm like, you know what? I want them to get used to it while they're in the chair. I want to style it for them, make it look really good, and then just let them stare at themselves for the whole hour while they get used to their bangs. So it's not like, chop, okay, bye, you know? Okay, so now I've got this beautiful guide from the back, which are the new lengths of her hair, right there, and I'm gonna over direct her. So it's a center vertical section taken all the way to almost her occipital bone. And I'm gonna over direct everything like way up and over her head until I reach those lengths of that hair. Cool? And then I'm going to kind of go longer than the section that I want to take and just give it a nice big chop. So that is not my cut right there. But it needed to get out of the way so that we can put in our actual cutting line, because there's just too much. So we're gonna go all the way over the top of her head. Now we have like a subtle guide, right? And I'm gonna go in, so you can see, right? That's not the actual lengths. I want it soft. So I'm gonna go in, and I take my knuckles and my fingers, and I go about 2 to 3 inches below where I want the actual lengths of the hair. And I'm carving in and scooping out. Going in with my scissors, scooping up and out. In with my scissors, up and out. And I do that all the way down the section. So my cutting line is actually going to be those longer bits. Can you see that? Those longer bits is the cutting line. So it's essentially like you have 2 cutting lines. You have the texture underneath and the longer bits on top. And then I'm going to come in and just really refine this for her. I wouldn't even do as much point cutting sometimes on, it just depends on the hair texture. It depends, can you see that? Depends on the hair type. Every cut is going to be unique and different based on the client that is in your chair. This is how I approach Brittany's fine, soft, flyaway hair, right? I really want you to see kind of what this looks like when we drop it down. So this middle section, when we drop it down, we've got instant lift right here and layers all the way down to the lengths of that hair. So it's, you guys, it's so like, here we go, long. I'll show you in a minute. Lean all the way forward, Britt. And then I'll turn you this way. There we go. So now you can see we've got like instant lift, and it'll start doing stuff because she has very straight hair. Very, very straight hair. But those layers are connected all the way through down to those ends. Hi guys. Can you get the same results by using thinning shears? So essentially, okay, it's about how you use the thinning shears, okay? So for my relationship with thinning shears is that I still will use them the same way that I use my scissors and when I'm cutting hair, just as like an added reassurance almost. Or I'll use them to soften like a scissor over comb or something like that. So it's a refining tool, but I feel like sometimes people abuse thinning shears and then they get a really bad rap. So there's my cutting line. There's all that extra hair. So I'm gonna go in and cut just a very kind of blunt line, but longer than the lengths that I had previous, just slightly longer, because it's still a beautiful cutting line. We're not chopping, we're just doing what, like a more of a precision cut. And then we're giving ourselves a few inches of room to play, right? Few inches to go in, and I do have some of my previous section in there, and I have a little bit of a guide to show me, like, oh, you're going too far, or you need to add more hair, and we're gonna scoop, scoop, scoop. So anyway, so thinning shears, I wouldn't just go in and do that like with what I'm doing right now. I'm being very custom about it. If I use thinning shears on Brittany's hair, it would be crazy. Like you would see every single line that those thinning shears put in, because they usually cut almost like, what would that be? Like the top of a castle, right? You would see every line of that in her hair because of the way that her hair texture is ultra, ultra fine and very, very like thick per square inch on her head, right? So individual hairs are fine, but she's got a lot of them. She's got a lot of density. Cool. All right, so now I over-directed that last section into the middle, and now I'm gonna take this entire section from the side. So you could essentially, and if somebody had thinner hair, I mean, Brittany's is wildly dense, but if somebody had a less density, you could take it like in just a few sections because you are over-directing everything into the middle, so you're getting that kind of concaved result in the layer. So I'm attempting to bring everything over. I'm looking at it and it's just too much hair. So I am gonna subsection this out just to give myself the reassurance. And that's like a great example of like, if there's too much hair in your hand, maintaining control, it's like, okay, just like drop, like say you hit a knot or whatever, don't push your way through, drop the hair, go in, regather. And so much of hair cutting is getting out of your client's head and out of the head of whoever's, right in front of you and being like, I know what the right answer is, and just trusting yourself and being like, I'm going to drop this, give myself a second, regather. Or if I'm like, okay, is my elevation good? Is my over direction good? What do I need to do, right? I'm gonna drop it, regather, look at it, check my over direction in the mirror. You can always look in the mirror and check your over direction by seeing like, where is it at? Where is it laying? You doing good, Britt? Mm-hmm. Underneath all that? Mm-hmm. And then going in and point cutting, cool. Oh, I'm like so relieved for her right now. I feel like, did you ever get headaches from ponytails?
Always.
Always? Yeah, no. No more Motrin. You can just get a haircut. How's it going, everybody? Is her hair dry or damp? And what do you prefer? So her hair is dry. Sometimes if somebody has a little bit more of a wave pattern in their hair, I'd like to cut it kind of like damp to dry. So I dampen it down, I look at the wave pattern, I set in the cut, and then I kind of style it as I go. And that would kind of be my typical go-to. But Brittany, just like I said before, her hair is actually very, very straight, right? She's got very straight hair, like it just sticks out straight like that, and it shows every little fault, every little detail, every little flaw, right? So if you're a beginner hairdresser, you'd probably be halfway in the cut being like, I'm questioning everything about like, should I be cutting hair? Because her hair is the type of hair that you can refine and refine and refine. and you have to make sure that there's just zero. You can't do a precision cut on her. You have to refine everything and break it all down to get it to have that like soft flow. Cool? All right. So I'm already just like so excited about what I see on this side. There's like so much movement and pretty cool stuff going on. And then this side's just laying really flat, really heavy, and really nothing going on. So I'm going to turn her towards you so you can see my over direction. Lovely. I know she's trained. She's a trained model. She's like, I'll go back so they can see the ends of my hair. Cool. And you can see her lovely face with hair all over it. Sorry, Britt.
It's all good.
Quick tip. Put on your Wella cape backwards so if your front-facing camera can read Wella the correct way. We learned that one together actually today. So I'm doing the exact same thing, repeating that step, and you're going to see how fast this goes. This is the bulk of her hair. Like that length that we cut, all of these layers, over directing way over her head. All of this is definitely the bulk of the haircut, right? And so we're kind of getting, once we get all of that out of the way, it's just like fun and like detail work and, you know, it's good. So we're gonna kind of breeze through this next section, taking out bigger separation and then refining those ends. Cool? So can you see that over direction? We're kind of just over directed slightly on this first section, ever so slightly. And we're gonna open up our hand. If the hair feels too like bunched together, I'm just putting my hand sideways so you can see. I open up the hair a little bit more and add more separation between the hairs so that you can really get in there and refine it, because I don't want to take a chunk. I want it to be soft and refined. The more that you angle your scissors, so if you angle your scissors more at a 45-degree angle, you're going to take out more hair and more of a chunk. If you go in at an exact 90-degree angle, you're going to refine that line and just soften the line without taking as much length away or as much separation in between the hair. Cool? All right, so this is my second section. So we're gonna look at how much over direction is there for this concave layer. So first I'm gonna comb up, then I'm gonna over direct in, like towards the middle, all the way towards the middle. And as I'm combing, bringing that all forward over her head. Okay, so I'm doing all of that at once, but making sure that it's all happening at once. Okay, I'm making sure that like nothing's kind of too much for me to handle, that I'm not losing it at any point, and if I do, I'm regathering it, re-looking, and reassessing what I'm doing. All right, cool. And then we'll just have 1 or 2 sections after this. We're gonna go in to her bang section, which me and Britt didn't really talk about beforehand. We didn't give a great consultation, low key. I'm just admitting that right up front because she's my sister, and it's easy to take. It's easy to take for granted the people in your life that she told me going in, do whatever you want, do whatever you want. And low key, she has had mohawks. We shaved the side of her head, and we put a little like heart here, and the tip of it was like, yeah, we did.
I know, I said don't do that.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's where she draws the line. That's where she draws the line. But she's done it all. She's done it all, and I've seen it all on her, and so it's one of those things where, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, I already know. But Brittany, bangs today. Do you want less? I was thinking actually. So see how much I'm over directing that last section. I was actually thinking a little bit less bangs today, since we're going to make you platinum with hair color, not using any bleach, just hair color, guys. I can't wait to show you the formulas. I'm gonna, here, now I'm like separating this section out to get lots of separation. But I'm gonna show you the formulas, the 3 different formulas I wanna choose from. I wanna choose from a high lift, from the 12 series. I want to choose from either Coleston Perfect or Illumina. And I have 3 different formulas that I cannot decide what I wanna do. So I'd love to kind of show you guys that and get your opinion and have you help me decide. Okay, so let's go into this front part of her hair. Let's clean this cape off. It looks crazy. There we go, cool. I need a clean slate before we decide what we're gonna do. So Britt, what do you think? What do you guys think? Bangs or no bangs? Please recap. The late joiners. Okay, we're gonna try to save this. Someone said backside, backside's no. Oh, no. Okay, let's see here. I'm good. Change your style every once in a while. Yeah, you gotta change your style every once in a while, for sure. Okay, so what do you think, Britt? How do you feel?
Bangs are fine. I definitely like if I can move them out of my eyes a little bit for
She's a workout guru.
the gym.
She's a workout guru.
So.
Her Instagram's Yogi B Britt. And so she is definitely always at the gym, always pulling her hair back, needs it out of her face for lifestyle reasons. So we will respect that.
Even if I can't tuck it behind my ears, just moving it out of my eyes is always helpful.
Okay,
So.
just moving it out of her eyes. So see this beautiful line that we have, this beautiful cutting line from before. Now we just have these little tails to contend with, right? We didn't cut that part of the perimeter yet. Let's see, curtain bangs, long side bangs, bangs. Which texture is best for this cut? For Brittany, all the texture is best for her, but mostly just that refinement. So see how I kept the heaviness and the thickness of her hair, but that line is so soft because any amount of this action, it looks choppy. If you cut a straight, perfectly beautiful straight line, it looks choppy on her hair texture. So, all right, somebody said, just go for it. They're like, thumbs up, go for it, all the way. All right, we are going to be kind and not do crazy things. We're gonna do a curtain bang, but we're gonna do it longer. I think that's really pretty, and I do want to play with her blow dry, with her hairstyle, and I want to see it flipped from side to side. Side bangs is coming in style, so I'm happy to report that we don't have to be stuck to one thing anymore, right? Not that some of us never were. I mean, sometimes we just like what we like, right? But fashion would tell us that, side parts were out and now they're back in. Trends, I should say. Maybe not fashion, but trends. Cool. Yes, we are dry cutting. Do your scissors get dull from so much dry cutting? No, actually, and I make sure that, what's funny is I probably sharpen my scissors less than most people, just because I don't like them messed with always. I feel like it changes them somehow. So you have to be very particular about who you go to for sharpening your shears and when you sharpen them. But no, because you know what? I'm very careful to always just let me show you right here actually. So I took a front triangle section in her bangs. Yeah. How much do you take? Like an inch. Yeah, on the bangs, this is about an inch deep in the middle, the deepest part of the triangle. And it's about 2 inches wide, okay? So I'm over directing everything to the center. And this is kind of gonna be the shortest part of the bang, but it's not gonna be crazy short. Ready? Here we go. So I'm gonna go open, close my shears. And this is why, because I'm not I'm actually so delicate with my blade. And it's barely pulling on her. She doesn't feel this intense dragging. You feel like a soft little maybe tug, right, Brett?
Correct.
You don't feel like it's through your hair, because it's just like driving a car. She's correct. She's I told you, she's trained. No, but it's one of those things where it's so soft that it's like when you're driving a car and you're just going straight. I remember when I first started to drive a car, I was like this, and I was going straight, but you just slowly learn to just adjust naturally when you feel like there's just a little bit more drag and you're whoa, ease up. It's that really delicate. Cool, good to see you guys. All right, so then this is the shortest bits of her bang. It's right around chin length, really cute. The way that we over directed it to the center makes this piece a little shorter than the rest, right? So she could easily tuck that behind her ear. It's not really a bang, but it's kind of a bang. It's too short to be a leer, too long to be a bang. It's confused. But now we're just gonna take sections, and I can do this quite quickly. And as I work back, just gonna take sections bring them forward, and I will change this for you guys so you can see more clearly. There we go. Thank you, Britt, for being awesome. Bring this down, and at the back part of my shears, opening and closing, big sweeping motions, so she has lots and lots of movement. I'm looking at this line being like the majority of the line, right? So as I'm closing my shears, that's where I'm focused on the actual line of her layers being. But as I'm going, I'm digging kind of like a little bit deeper to get that texture that I want. That's my quote unquote, like I said, second cutting line. So you have like your primary cutting line, and then you have this secondary texture that's living in here. And all of that lives like on the ends there. So like I said, I want it to be thick. I'm not going in and thinning it out. I'm just going in and adding lots of texture to the last like 3 inches of her hair. Bringing that forward, and then I'll just refine this. And just being very delicate, and I'm changing the angle of my shears. Whatever angle my shears are at is where the hair is coming off. So as I change the angle of my shears, just be really mindful, because sometimes people are going in and they're just taking bites. Why not try changing the angle of your shears and imagining that the edge of your shears is where the hair is coming off. So I'm changing the angle of my shears to mimic, like right here, the cutting line that I'm imagining in my head, right? And just softly letting it go. Cool? So I've got this last section. So her fringe section is actually kind of becoming like a guide for the shorter areas of her layers in her face frame. How are we all doing? How do you deal with clients with cowlicks in the front? Cool. Your hairstyle is amazing. Thanks. So cowlicks are interesting. I love a cowlick, to be honest. Really quick, I want to show you this little moment where I'm bringing my fingers down and I'm flipping them upside down to just kind of connect this more. And I'm using gravity to like allow those hairs to kind of push down into my shears, and that's why I flip it upside down, right? So it's helping me kind of like manage and hold that hair. So bringing it here, and then kind of like, and here I'm flipping it this way and using gravity to just refine the line, right? Cool. So yeah, cowlicks are amazing. They add personality to your haircut, really, I feel. So for me, it's like, I don't like to fight them. I like to respect them. I want to make sure that they're good and they're happy and all of that. So I'm always kind of respecting the cowlicks, and I'm trying to teach my clients to do the same. A lot of clients hate their cowlicks and they're always trying to fight them. Cool. So I'm adding just a vertical section forward, asking her to turn her head, looking at the cutting line of what's got to go, and then because her hair is finer down here, I'm just going to go ahead and set that line straight in and then soften it, because I don't want to take away from too much of the thickness here on the ends. So yeah, so I kind of like try to teach my clients as well to really respect their cowlicks and not be mad at them, you know? And to really learn to love them and how to utilize them and how to use them to get more. So here I'm connecting from here to get my new guide from the back to here, from here to here. Cool. So yeah, it's really hard because sometimes somebody can be raised to just like hate something about themselves, right? Like their cowlicks or their white streak birthmark, or, you know, all of that, right? There's certain people, and then when the minute they embrace it, it becomes their signature, and it's like, oh, you literally have hair that like nobody else can have. Like nobody can have the hair that you have because it's yours and it's like your signature. So if they're obsessed with the fact that they want a specific style bang, I always blow dry it into place first, and there's tricks to help you do that. But mostly I just try to get them to embrace it. I think it's really important. How you guys doing? Doing great. Love that trick. Hello. Yes, which scissors do you use? So right now I'm using my arc. I have 3 shears that I love, love, love. I have my Mizutani shears from the Wella Studio. I'm using my arcs right now. And then I have my fancy scissors. And I love them all like my children. No, I'm just kidding. For real though. All right, so I'm looking at my cutting angle and what needs to go, making this hug her body so that the cutting line is like at a true 0 and where it would be if it was like against her body. And I'm connecting from the top to the bottom. I'm gonna kind of use this as a little bit of a, there we go. I need to come down this way, come back up. There we go. So when I'm doing a face frame, it's like, am I just kind of dusting or am I like really carving in? And if you get them to turn their head, you're actually just kind of like setting in the shape and not taking away so much. And each time you comb, you're gonna reveal something else that you wanna cut, right? So every time I comb it, I wanna be able to see this more, not on that logo. There we go. Every time I comb it, it's gonna reveal to me a little bit more that needs to go. And then I'll comb it again. That's what they say. They say cut, cut, or sorry, it's the opposite. Comb, comb, cut. Comb, comb, cut. Because you can only ever cut it once, right? So you just comb, 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 cut. Comb, 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 cut. Because every time you comb, you're totally gonna change the line. And I mess up the line on purpose. I move it all around because realistically, sorry, Brett, realistically, that's exactly what they're gonna do later on, right? Cool. And then I'm gonna go in, and I am going in at a little bit of a 45 to get to not make, you know, those big old pieces. I'm gonna grab a guide from the back because she's got way too much hair there. Here's her new lengths. And I'm gonna just tackle this bottom corner by over directing it forward and just skimming off the top, right? So in an open, closed fashion. All right, cool. So now I'm gonna bring all of her hair forward from a center part in the back, bring this entire section, the whole side of her head. And the reason I'm doing all of this before setting in the layers on the top is because you'll see how much is already handled from the back layers, the face frame, this whole front detailing. And I come in and I just round that out just a little bit and not totally, just like as I'm kind of like texturizing it and cutting into it. How you guys doing? Everybody's great. All right, cool. Yeah, you know, it's so funny because long layers, it's like something we do every day, but just even if you just take away what we did to create the perimeter and the lengths of her hair from the very beginning of the live, even if that's like your biggest takeaway, and that every hair texture needs to be addressed differently, right? You're gonna see me cut differently on her hair than I do anyone else's because her hair is ultra straight, right? Okay, cool. So now we're going to take a little bit of this back section. Cool. So even if you just rethink 1 or 2 of those types of things, that's huge, 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 because we're doing long hair every day, all day long. I'm gonna bring this all the way back towards myself, all the way back. I'm going to take a bit of a chunk off in the beginning, just a bit, that's not the actual lengths. And then I'm gonna bring it all the way back again, look at my guide from the underneath, and just start going in to get that bigger separation that I want, and then I'll dial it in, dial it in. Cool, so we're doing the exact same thing, but I'm over-directing all the way back because I want kind of to preserve a little bit of the lengths through the front. And I'm going in at not a complete 45 with my point cut. I want to make sure that it's soft, 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 soft. So if I take any chunks, you're gonna see the chunks, right? In her hair, we talked about that's how her hair texture is. Cool. Okay, next section. I'll show you the over direction with this one. We're gonna turn her to the side if you wanna lean forward, Britt. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to over direct this, taking all of the hair, just leaving out like these little wisps, right? Because I just need enough hair to be like my guide to the ends. and I'm over directing that. Go ahead and lean forward a little bit more. And obviously in the salon, you would not, that's how much I'm over directing. Can you see that? And then we'll turn her back around for the cutting angle. There you go. And you can sit comfortably, my dear. Cool. Lots of over direction back, preserving lots of length through the front in her layers around her face. And really point cutting deep to get rid of that. Cool, all right. So I wanna open it up really quick because I'm gonna go through, add these layers, and we're gonna style her up. We're even gonna color her hair. We're gonna do so many fun things to her today. Actually, we do need to go over your formulations really quick, Britt, because I feel like we need to know. There is a combination. Actually, I might even have you hold. Side note, see how little there is to cut right here? There's very little to cut in the front. It was majority just like these 2 sections of hair. And already she's got like tons of movement. She's got cool hair vibes. She's gonna be able to flip it back and forth. Loving it. All day, every day, this haircut. Okay, Brett, so you're gonna hold these so that they can see the numbers. So maybe you have to rearrange them. Let's see. Let's rearrange this one. So let's do the Illumina one first. As I'm cutting your hair, I'm putting her to work. So we're gonna go over these 3 formulas with you because I'm gonna lift her hair with only hair color. So her first formula that's up for debate is going to be,
I'm holding it up. Right?
Hold it.
Did I got the right one?
Okay, so we've got, hold them all together because I think we'll do equal parts of 10 stroke pure, 1093, and 1069. Okay, so we're talking like a Cendre gold with a natural kind of just a pure tone, and then with just like a little bit of ash, right? So that would be a very pretty, natural looking, kind of like just a bleached out blonde essentially, right? But with Illumina, it's violet based, so it's gonna have this kind of violety, like natural quality to it, okay? Second formula is Celestone Perfect. Okay, this one's kind of fun. 1095 gives you a blush tone, and 1096 gives you a bit of like that, a little bit more ash to control the warmth. So we're gonna control the warmth, but then we're gonna have like this blushy, pinky kind of champagne blonde. So you guys are gonna have to vote because this is gonna be her hair at the end. So then the last one is gonna be your 12 series. We have 1281 and 1216. So we could go half and half with those formulas. And that is gonna give us like a very, thank you, Ela, for bringing, oh my gosh, I said Ela, my daughter's name. So that's gonna give us like a little bit more ash, very controlled, very natural. It'll be really platinum, like very platinum, but very, very controlled. What do you guys think? Which one? Illumina, Celestone Perfect, or the 12 series? And I'm going to apply it with 20 volume on her roots and then 30 volume all throughout these darker pieces and leave out kind of like her blonde little ends right here. All right, we have to do the hair whoosh to the test. Cool. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of something. Yeah, let's see. How you guys doing? 12 series. Wait, someone says the first. Someone says KP. All right, keep it coming, guys. Keep letting me know while I kind of zhuzh her up and kind of show her what her hair looks like now. It's so cool because I can like even show you guys the style. We have done no styling. It is very straight, but just by lightening up those layers, she's got like a little fullness and something that's not just whoosh, and it still feels crazy long. So it feels crazy long. All right, let's see. Second, so nice. 12 series. Ooh, second one, first one, 12. A lot of people are saying 12 series, probably because I said it's gonna look really platinum. They're all gonna look very, very light and bright. Right? Oh man, you guys are making me even more confused than before. Hey, hang on, Britt. I'm just gonna do this so we can get rid of all of that and show them how gorgeous you are. How pretty is my little sister? She's like an actual model. Okay, 12 series for the win. Everybody's saying 12 series. Britt, you're gonna be 12 series. Illumina would make it like a little icier, right? And then, but I had like the 9-3 in there. I kept some warmth in there, and I had the pure, the 10, pure to keep it more natural.